Hi, my name's Ed. I work for Sporting Communities. We're a community interest company who specialises in different youth services, from coaching, mentors and family support. We're a training academy and deliver a range of different qualifications and also play services. So these podcasts are generally around mental health and staying positive, as well as general feelings on the current situation. So today we have James and Mim again, who you'll have heard on a previous podcast. And we'll be focusing on the topic of anxiety, which is a big topic at the minute around the news and the current situation, everything going on. And we'll be discussing different techniques and treatments you can do to help overcome this, as well as generally how we're feeling. So I'll let them quickly introduce themselves again.
Yeah, fab. So James again. So I've been with Sporting Communities for just over a year. I mainly take part in coaching activities and bits like that in the community, and I love getting involved and seeing the smiles on people's faces.
That's great. Mim, how about you?
So my name's Mim. I've been working for Sporting Communities for just under a year, and my role is to go out in the community and engage with young people.
Brilliant. So as we've said, so today's topic, we're going to cover a bit of anxiety, techniques to help overcome that, as well as how we're generally feeling about lockdown at the minute. And also we've got a couple of questions from yourselves to answer as well. So to start off, we're just going to talk about basically how we're feeling now we're a bit further into lockdown. I think it's closer to 3 weeks now into lockdown. So James, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I think in the last week it started to hit home more about lockdown, to be honest. I think last week I was quite positive. I'd been going on my runs and everything like that. I was managing to fill my time. The house has now been completely gutted. So I've now done everything in the house. So I'm finding that I've got less things to do, which I am struggling a little bit more to fill my time. I am still trying to make sure I'm getting up in the morning, setting myself a few goals and putting myself into routines that I need to be doing. I'm still trying to go out and run when I can, but I'm finding that I've got less motivation to do it now that I'm not as busy. So I think it's been a tougher week, but I think that's to be expected. I think the longer you're in anything like this, the harder it's going to be. But it's just about maintaining positivity and just keep doing what we're doing, because at the end of the day, by staying at home, we are saving lives. So it's taking the positives from that.
Yeah, I agree. It's just a case of maybe taking a step back every now and then and looking at the bigger picture and how important it is to stay at home. But I also agree, finding ourselves doing just pointless tasks that we would never normally do just to fill some time. But Mim, how about you?
Yeah, so similar to James, really, I've just been trying to keep busy. I've been taking my hour a day to go out for a walk and just sort of try and plan them in, so I've got something to look forward to. I've also picked up some old hobbies, so I've started playing my guitar again, just try and fill my days really. And I've also started like a new project, so I'm doing my bedroom up because it's something to do. So I've ordered all the bits and bobs offline, so I'm able to do that. It's just about keeping busy, really.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So you set yourself a new challenge and a bit of a longer term one as well.
Yeah.
No, that's good. So, like I said, so today we're going to talk a bit around anxiety and potential causes of it, how your body reacts and how you react as a person to it, and some solutions and different techniques that you can use to help overcome that. So we'll start off just with the definition of anxiety as such. Well, from the NHS website, we've got what is anxiety. So anxiety is a feeling of unease, like a worry or fear that can be mild or severe. Everyone feels anxious from time to time, and it usually passes once the situation is over. It can make our heart race. We might feel sweaty, shaky, or short of breath. Anxiety can also cause changes in our behaviour, such as becoming overly careful or avoiding things that trigger the anxiety. So that's just a bit about it. Now, something just to add on top of that is, it's not just limited to what I've just read out. There's that inner feeling of dread, that twisted stomach feeling, and everyone's body will react different to this situation they're going through and react different to how they deal with anxiety as well. James and Mim, how do you feel that sort of definition sums it up, or do you disagree or have a different view of that? Mim, do you want to go first?
Yeah, so I'd agree with that definition. I think it's different for everyone. So as it stated there, it might sort of appear in physical forms, with the sweating, the shaking. And it's about being able to identify that in other people, and how to sort of best help them when they're going through that situation, and having an understanding of that can be different for everyone in terms of when you're feeling anxious, you can go into like a fight, flight or freeze mode. It's about recognising that in yourself and other people and what is best to do in that situation.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Thanks for that, Mim. James, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it pretty much summed up what anxiety is for everybody, really. I think, like you were saying, everybody gets it on different levels. I don't really consider myself a very anxious person. I can't really think of any sort of things that make myself feel incredibly anxious. However, so my mum does suffer with it. I know she wouldn't mind me saying, but yeah, she finds different ways to help herself cope with it. Some of them are remove herself from the situation. It might be that she takes herself off and does something else that can just fill her mind with something else for a little while. I know that over the last 2 days she's been up in the loft, which was an absolute mess beforehand, and she's been tidying all of that just to try and give herself something else to think about over the last few days. And I know that's really helped from speaking to her. So yeah.
No, that's really interesting, and thanks for sharing that, James. So now we've covered a bit about what anxiety is and what we think it is. We've had a question come in that it can link in quite majorly with that. So we've got someone asked a question saying, my family are driving me nuts. How can I keep our relationship good when we are always on top of each other? So it's not necessarily something that they've asked directly about anxiety, but it definitely can be an anxious situation. And some of the techniques and solutions that we talk about may help with that situation. So James, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I think there's probably a lot of families who are currently in this situation, and I think parents will be feeling more stressed, and likewise children will also be feeling more stressed, purely because everybody's, like you say, living under one roof. They're not used to being stuck in the house all the time, and finding a way to live like that is very challenging. I think my best advice for something like that would be to try as a family to set some ground rules. So it might be that each person has a separate room that they can take themselves off to spend some time by themselves. We all need our own time. So it might be that they want that. It might be that they actually set some time to sit down as a family and even play a game or something like that. I know that we've been playing Monopoly in the house quite a lot. I can't say I'm a massive fan because I'm terrible at Monopoly, but we've been playing that, which even if that game lasts for an hour or two, it just takes you away from the situation. And actually, it can help to bring your family closer together rather than you all at loggerheads. I think it's important to remember that we are all in this together, and people deal with this differently. And so it's important to almost have a little bit more leeway with family members at this time than you may normally have. Previously, a certain comment may have made you react to it. I think it's important just to remember, look, do you know what, we're all struggling from time to time. So instead of it causing arguments, let's try to help each other, so we can find a positive solution.
Yeah, no, cheers for that, James. I think just to sum it up, you've made some great points, and having your own space is definitely key to be able to just get away and have a bit of me time. And also as well to take a step back again and realize that there will be arguments, that no family is perfect, and especially when you're locked in together, there's going to be conflict and whatnot. But no, I think the part that you said about having a bit of fun, and even if it's just a game of Monopoly together, it can definitely ease the mood. So it's a really interesting point there. Mim, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so I think personally I'm quite lucky. I'm an only child, so I only live at home. There's only 3 people in my household. But I can understand that people that are living in larger families, you can sort of get on top of each other a little bit. So it's about setting them boundaries and ground rules and personal space. and having an understanding that everyone else within that household is feeling the same as well. So just going back to what James said, really.
Yeah, no, good point. I think as well, made a good point about more people or less people being in the household. Sometimes I think that, you know, even if you're just living by yourself, you'll end up annoying yourself. You can end up annoying yourself by doing certain things. So, no, some really good points there. I also think another key point just to touch on is identifying the triggers. You know, when because a lot of the time when we're distracted, it can often reduce our anxiety because our mind's busy, we're focused on something else. However, them triggers that kick it off and can cause that your body to react is really important to understand when it may happen, why, and in the situations when it does. So if someone is anxious about an exam, and every time they go to revise and they sit at the table to revise, it triggers that anxiety, then the key moment then is to realize that the trigger point was sitting down at the table to get your revision out. So something as simple as changing your environment, so changing where you're revising from might help. Really simple things like that can help. You know, another example can be if you're struggling to sleep and often finding somewhere else to sleep. So again, changing the environment, you know, that different feeling of, you know, going from bed to sofa, you know, it can often comfort us. But again, just reminding ourselves that it's important that does not become a routine, and it's just a short-term solution until we feel up to facing that anxiety. So I hope that answered the question. I know, James, you had another technique that you wanted to talk about. So do you want to tell us that?
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. So I think the main thing that we need to focus on whenever you are feeling anxious, if you are feeling a little bit stressed out and you feel like, do you know what, things are getting on top of you, the first thing you need to do is we need to get that breathing in order. So that is all about regulating your breathing. We're going to pop online later a little breathing box, which hopefully will help you guys through it. But it's all about making sure that you deep breath in through your nose to the count of 4. You hold it for the count of 4, and then we're going to breathe it out through the mouth to the count of 4. Doing this time and time again will just help you regulate that breathing, and it will lower your state of anxiety. Mim is then going to take us onto a grounding technique, which also helps. It can help distract us from the things that we're thinking about, and if we are feeling a higher state of anxiety, we can use this to help us.
Okay, so now some of you might be more of a physical learner and a visual learner. So when it comes to feeling anxious, it might be you need physical things to help you do that. So we're going to go through the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique to ground yourself back in the room. So Ed and James, I want you to look round and look at 5 things that you can see in that room. And then let me know what you've seen.
Okay, so for me, I've got a laptop, a water bottle, a pen, some paperwork, and a pair of jeans.
Lovely.
Okay, I've got a dartboard, a television, a Burton Albion shirt, a sofa, and a table.
Brilliant. So that's got you in touch with your sight. Now I want you to think of 4 things that you can hear.
So I'll go with the birds outside, the wind, the sound of my laptop, and other just general noises around the house.
I can hear the wind. I can hear my heartbeat. I can hear the birds chirping. And I can hear the television in the other room.
Brilliant. So hopefully that's brought you in touch with your hearing. Now I want you to think of 3 things that you can feel. So it might be textures on your clothes. It could be anything.
Okay then. So I've got a pen in my hand, um, my joggers, and then also the desk I'm leaning on.
Brilliant.
Okay, I've got the seat that I'm sat on. I'm also wearing joggers, so the joggers that I'm wearing, and my watch that I'm wearing.
Fab. So hopefully that's brought you in touch with your touch. And then I want you to think of 2 things that you can smell.
Was that smell?
Yeah.
Okay. The fresh air, because I've got my window open, and the dog, because she was lying on me before I came here upstairs.
Brilliant.
Okay, so tougher one. I'm going to go with the air. I can smell the air, and again, it's nice and fresh. And I can smell fabric softener on my clothes.
Brilliant. So that's brought you into touch with your scent. And the last one, I want you to think of 1 thing that you can taste. So it might be what you've last eaten. It could be anything.
Oh, okay.
It might just be the general taste of saliva. It could be anything.
Yeah, I'm going to say a pack of crisps because I had some not long ago.
What flavour did you have?
Went for prawn cocktail.
Oh, that's the best one.
Good shout into it. Yeah, prawn cocktail.
Okay, mine has got to be orange juice because I just had a drink of orange juice.
Brilliant. So you did really well there, guys. So the idea of that technique is that it allows you to breathe in between thinking of the things that you can see, hear, touch, smell, taste. And it also allows you to become in touch with all of your senses to ground yourself back into the room. So I hope that that's helpful for some of you guys that might be struggling.
Yeah, that sounds great. Thanks for that, Mim. It's and something that if you're listening, you can pause the podcast or wait till the end, and you can have a go and try it yourself. I'd definitely recommend it. It's a chance just to see if it works. If it does, great. If not, then at least you're giving it a go. Thanks again for that, Mim. It was really good. So now we've covered that it might take a bit of time to do, to think of the certain things, but I wonder if you've got any quick and easy techniques that people could apply who are listening now as well.
Yeah, so just a couple of quick things that I know my mum does sometimes to help with her anxiety. You can picture yourself in a nice place, a picturesque place. So I know my mum is a massive fan of going to Greece, so she always pictures herself on a beach in Greece with her partner fishing on some rocks. Whenever she's feeling a little bit anxious, she pictures herself there, and I know that helps to just lower her levels of anxiety. Another few quick wins that you can do, you can write down whatever you're feeling anxious about, put it in a box and just leave it to one side. That way you can go carry on doing whatever you want to be doing, and if you feel like you then want to go and put that box somewhere else, hopefully somewhere in the bin or something like that, so we can get rid of that anxiety, then great. But you don't have to revisit it until later. It may be that you want to just count back from 100, just to occupy your mind, just so that you're doing something else other than obviously thinking about whatever's making you anxious. So that's just a few quick wins really that you can do just to help you if you are feeling anxious.
Yeah, no, that's great. Cheers for that, James. One thing that we've not really touched on at all so far, but is something I've used and really beneficial, is exercise and a healthy diet. So that can release loads of positive endorphins in the body that we know. Healthy body, healthy mind. It can be a good distraction, but also a way to release any negativity that we have going on. So I think everyone listening may have felt anxious at some point, and I think personally it's something that I look at as a solution. Sometimes, depending on what you're feeling anxious about, it can be just a lack of confidence sometimes, where there's something bothering you that you're just feeling really down and anxious about it, and the fact that you're low on confidence can really have an effect on that as well. So I think sometimes, it's self-talk can be really good, to talk yourself out of situations or give yourself that extra boost you need. Sometimes messaging someone that will give who will be positive and give you a positive response and make yourself feel and make you feel good. It's really important to, if you're gonna go to someone for help, that you go to the right person. Often, a lot of the time, we can go to family members or friends that could possibly make us feel even more anxious. So it's just knowing the right person to talk to, because if you go to someone with a worry, you tell them, and their reaction can often trigger something within you, to either make you feel a lot worse than you were before. So if you tell them something and they react shocked and panicky, you're going to panic even more. But if you go to the right person, someone that will give that positive response, they can often calm how you're feeling and reduce that anxiety for you. Sometimes, I think depending on your general mental health as well, it can play a massive part. I think sometimes if you're in a particularly low mood on a day, then them sort of distraction techniques work really well. I think if you're feeling positive on a certain day but still anxious about a certain thing or situation, sometimes facing it head on, talking about it, and can also work really well. Because I think a lot of the time, if it is a certain thing or situation, facing it head on can often fix that problem or fix that what you've been feeling anxious about straight away. It's just that you've been feeling anxious about facing it head on. So I think depending on your mental state at that particular time, it can play a massive part in how the best way to deal with it is.
Yeah, just to touch on that's going back to that fight or flight, that's within our nature. So it's about, do we fight that anxiety in the moment, or do we flight and come back to it later on? So it's about thinking about what sort of person you are and what will best work for you. So some of those techniques might not work best for you if you are more of a fight than a flight. You might want to deal with it in that moment, and that's okay. But it's just making sure that we're in a rational mindset when we do so.
Yeah, 100%. I think, like you just said, dealing with it in the best way to suit the person who's going through the situation. So everyone will be different. It's that feeling of the unknown, really, that really can make people very anxious, not knowing what's going to happen, and especially in our current situation, there is a lot of that going on at the minute. So another technique that you can use is mindfulness, that we've touched on, that they all really link to, but it's a big point just to mention that mindfulness plays a key part, and there's many types of that. So I hope today's answered some of your questions, or you've come away with something positive, or some technique that you're going to try out or potentially use. I think this is the chance to mention other means of support as well out there. One that we've mentioned already previously, which is the NHS website. We've got Kooth, which is KOOTH. It's an online mental health, runs online mental health services. There's loads of different apps now, one being the Calm app. I know a few people that have used that and benefited from that. We've got Childline, we've got the Mind charity that are online as well, or available via calls, emails and texts. And also our supporting communities SUP page, which is our support page where we'll have coaches and mentors on at different times in the day and evening to talk to any young people who want to get anything off their mind or just want to come on for a chat. That's SC SUP. And you can check out our normal sporting communities Facebook page to check the timetable of when the coaches will be online to talk to you. So I just want to thank James and Mim again.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for listening, everyone. And I hope that the techniques that we've discussed can help you this week.
Thank you again, guys.
So thanks again. If you have any further questions, feel free to drop it in the comment box, and we'll be sure to respond and get that answered for you the best we can. Thanks, guys.